All right. Welcome back to the second session from our producing and directing workshop. And although there are two different courses, I'm essentially treating them as if they are one and the same. Firstly, because a lot of the things that we learn in one automatically affects the other. And secondly, because almost everybody here is taking both the producing and the directing class. There are just one or two individuals who are taking only one and not both. So I guess at least for today, we can run both. And then tomorrow we'll specialize, we'll branch out the specifics of A and the specifics of B. I mean, producing and directing. All right, quick recap. We did a basic introduction to filmmaking, the stages of film, types of film, stages of film, how you should approach, at least layman's approach to filmmaking, start from distribution, not development. Theoretically, you should start from development, come up with a script. But practically, you should start from distribution. Lock down your distribution channels before you go to even write a script, before you commission somebody to write a script for you. Okay, so we're going to pick up from there. So this is the outline we're supposed to use for today's class, from beginning to the end. So let's run through it. So my introduction to the course, we've done that. Objectives and outcomes. I sent the learning outcomes to everybody already, yes? Okay, understanding the role of the producer. I've done an introduction to this. Who is the producer and what does the producer do? He's a business administrator on a film, okay? And these are the things, let's look at this together. The list of producer responsibilities. Online, you can see my screen, yes? I guess so. Okay. So these are an itemized list.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can see your screen.
All right, cool. An itemized list of the responsibilities of a producer. Number one is to develop the concept. With the introduction we've done before now, you know what we mean now, which is the development stage of filmmaking. Come up with an idea for the film, or for example, 2020, after October 20 NSAS, someone can choose to make a film based on events of that day. They do it a lot in the Nigerian film industry, true or false? Yeah. You know, something is trending and they jump on the trend, okay? While that is not what I'm recommending that everybody does, I'm saying that is one of the ways to come up with a concept for a film, jumping on an existing trend, hoping to ride on the wave of the trend to reach an audience, okay? Next is securing funding. So you come up with an idea, you find money to make that idea into a film, okay? You hire cast and crew. Remember, like I said, even the director is hired by the producer. The producer is the oga to the director. But at times, even the producer has to step down for the director to take charge. Because if the director is not allowed a free hand to do what he needs to do, production will probably not go the way it ought to go, okay? Next is overseeing production. In this wise, we mean drawing up a budget and creating a shooting schedule for your film. This is what the crux of this course is about. I did it again, did it rhyme. Ah, okay now. All right, so this is what the crux of this course is about, budgeting and scheduling. No matter how much business sense you have as an individual, the moment you drop the ball concerning drawing a budget and concerning drawing a schedule for your film, chances are you will lose money. Remember, we are businessmen, first and foremost, as producers. Our job is to find money to make a film and sell the film to make a profit. So what we do essentially in its most raw form is business, buying and selling, or in this case, manufacturing. It's closer to manufacturing than to buying and selling, because buying and selling, you buy from one place, you sell to another. In manufacturing, you buy from different places, different raw materials, you hire staff, this, to produce a product. That's more like what we do in film. No wonder it's called a producer. Shebi? All right, moving on. So oversee the production vis-a-vis budgeting and scheduling. Remember, those are the two most important things you do, other than finding money and finding somewhere to sell your film. In the process of making the film, what are the two most important things? Budgeting and scheduling. Allow me to treat you like primary school or maybe even kindergarten students. What are the two things I said are the most important things we need to do as producers? Budgeting and scheduling. Okay. In fact, my mind is not leaving that place. Let me stay there a little more. Let me tabernacle a little more. So picture this. The same way I painted a picture of our guy who did not do distribution, who did not settle distribution first before making the film. You remember him? Let's say his name is Femi. Femi will be our guy, our example guy throughout this course. Okay, let's talk about Femi again. Now, Femi wants to make a film, and he has done calculation. He'll spend 10 days on location. He has calculated he's spending 3 million on the film. Yes, that's his budget. Femi has 3.5 million naira home and abroad. But it's like, this film, if I make it, it makes sense. I sell it, 5 million, I'm home and dry, repeat 3 months after. Good idea, yeah? So Femi goes to location. Remember, how much does Femi have? 3.5 million. He goes to location. And the way he has budgeted it, every day consumes about 300, 350-ish K per day. It's not like, but if you were to break it down, from hotel fees to feeding, to rental of equipment, to how much daily rate is paying crew, roughly 300K per day. This is fictional. I'm not saying that's how much it takes. So good. So they go to location to shoot. 10 days they budgeted. By day 8, it was obvious they were going to need another 5 days to finish this. How many days does that mean he will spend on location? 13 days. Yeah. How much did we say one day roughly equals to? 350K. How much extra does he have other than 3 million? 500K. How much does he need for the 3 days extra? About almost 1 million. Let's even dash the 50K. He needs 1 million. He has how much? 5. Do you think that film is going to finish? Femi is not going to finish shooting that film. And if he does not finish the film, what do you think will happen? All the money he spent on it goes down the drain. All. Femi should be wise. So what should Femi do? He should make sure that he does not incur those 3 extra days. How? Sticking to the schedule. No, number one, drawing up a schedule in the first instance. Schedule where you know draw. Can you stick to it? Do you understand why scheduling is extremely important now? I'm intentionally painting the picture of the pain of Femi so that we here don't fall into Femi's shoes. Scheduling is extremely, extremely important. Pay maximum attention to scheduling for your film. I think I can move on from scheduling now. Good. Same for budgeting. Let me drop this here. Okay, after this question, let's do something. When we have a question, let's note it down so that the class can flow smooth, and then there'll be window period for question and answer. But let me answer this one at this moment. Okay. Yeah, so let me drop in something about budgeting at this junction. Since we've said the two most important things are what? Budgeting and scheduling. I've shown us the pain inherent if you don't schedule or you don't stick to your schedule. Now let's talk about budget. When you're making a film, you always have 2 budgets. Excuse me. An estimate or preliminary budget different from the actual budget. How does that run? I said the first thing you should do when you want to make a film, what's the first stage in filmmaking for us, practically? Distribution, practically. Although theoretically is development, but practically it's distribution. Good. After distribution, what's the next stage? Development. Part of development is fundraising, finding funds to make your film. Problem is, how do you know how much your film will cost? You have to draw a budget. Yeah? But have you written the script? Exactly. Exactly. So we sometimes have to draw a draft or preliminary budget. Yes. Must fall in that figure. That's one way to approach it. Yes, beautiful. But having said that, on one hand, on the other hand, whatever film you've decided to do, you need to draw up a estimate budget for it. That's what gives you an idea of how much you need to spend. Remember, one way is what you just pitched. I'm spending only 2 million. So you have to find a way to do your budget so that it fits 2 million. The other way is, okay, I've thought of everything. I have a good concept. I have a this. All right, now it's a script. Then you do a estimate budget to have an idea of how much you will need to make the film so that you know how much you need to find. You know, there are two different sides to it. Part one, I have this amount. I'm spending only this amount on the film. Option two, I want to make this film. I need to know how much it will cost so that I will know how much to look for. Does that make some sense to us? Those are the two basic approaches. So if you don't have a script, or sometimes it is after you have done the script, sometimes you might have to use your money to commission a script so that you can break down the script to have an idea of how much you need before you start finding finance for your film. Meaning all of that will be done out of pocket. By the way, you know, a producer does not necessarily need to use his money to make the film. That's why there's this other producer called the executive producer. So for us, in case we don't know, who is an executive producer is the financier of the film. He does not have so much of a creative or an administrative input in the making of the film. Some people do, e.g. marketers. If it's a marketer, if not a marketer, and they give you money, you'll be the one to insist on which actor to use safe. You get, according to, he knows the market. So he knows, so he's doing the job of the producer in this stage. Note that that's supposed to be the job of the producer. The producer is supposed to know the market and know what product will fit the market. In this case, the marketer is the one dictating to the producer because he, quote and unquote, knows the market. Okay? But having said that, let's come back to us, producer. You know the market, you know the product, you've come up with a script, then you find a financier. If you're not using your money to fund it, some filmmakers use their money to fund their films. There is no one formula fits all, different strokes for different folks. Sure, you get it? Okay? So, but if you're bringing somebody else to finance your film, that's your executive producer. If you're solely funding your film by yourself, then you are both the producer and the executive producer. Hallelujah, somebody. Okay, so I was talking about the process. The producer finds route number A is you have a certain figure and you make your film to that tune. You don't exceed your budget. Route number B is you come up with an estimate budget. You know how much you need to find to make your film. The second budget, I said we run with two budgets. The second budget is the actual budget. So say you've broken down your script, you've estimated that you need 3.5 million to make this film. You calculated 700,000 for hotels at 10K per room for 7 people for so number of days. Yeah. When you finally get to start shooting during production and you get those 7 rooms for those 10 days, you get a receipt. You should have a production office, so to speak, where you have an accountant. There should be a production accountant who takes all the receipts and imputes it against the estimated budget. In the estimate, we estimated 700K for the film. Yes, I mean, yeah, 700K for accommodation. How much did we actually spend? You would input it in a second column next to the estimated value for each item. We'll do that for each item so that at the end of the day, you calculate both to know whether you spent above your budget, exactly how much you budgeted, or below your budget. Because we're supposed to also appraise the film at the end of the day. How well did we do on every level? Finances, creativity, the work done, the quality of the work, etc., etc. Remember I said that the goal is growth. Do you remember? It's the reason why you must constantly do appraisal at the end of each film, after the film has gone out to distribution. You sit down with your team. You might be the only person on your team. It's fine. But preferably, you should have a team you work with. But either ways, one-man battalion or you have a crew you work with, you should sit down with your inner circle and appraise the film you just finished. One, how well did we do financially? Two, vis-a-vis quality control. How good is this film compared to the last one? And you look at all the metrics and you score yourself. This film was better than the last one we did, or guy, we did poorly. Like, this is probably one of the worst films we have ever made. Then you know what to do, correct, adjust going forward. That's how you can grow as an individual. That is how we can grow as an industry. And that is the goal, for the industry to grow. How? By changing one person at a time. Do we get this? Okay. But the key thing I wanted to bring out from this was the budget. We have an estimate budget and an actual budget. Do we get that concept? Good. All right. So securing funding, casting and crew hiring, overseeing the production. It was on this overseeing the production that I said there are two things we do to oversee the production: scheduling and budgeting. That's how I got on all of this journey, explaining scheduling, explaining budgeting. I think we're good with that. Next is principal photography, which is the actual shoot, okay? Which also ties into overseeing the production, what we do during the shoot. Then post-production. Most filmmakers don't plan for post-production. They rarely keep money for editing and post-production. They would have spent all the money on production only to remember that, editor. And then they will give it to some crappy editor who will do some crappy job. Now, let me talk about that for a second, the editor. The editor is possibly the most important person that will work on your film. Let me put it this way. The three most important persons, I'm speaking as a producer now. The three most important persons to you on your film, on the process of the journey of making your film: the scriptwriter, the director, and the editor. Those three people can make or mar your film. If the script is bad, voila. If the director does not do his job well, they say. If the editor messes up, go home and sleep. Forget about it. These three people are the two sides of a coin. I know a coin has two sides, not three, but there are three sides of a coin in the sense that they do roughly the same thing. Strange, I know, but as a director, those of you who will be doing directing, yes, a scriptwriter is the same thing as a director, is the same thing as a video editor. It's strange. You wonder what is the relationship between the three. It is said a film is written 3 times. It is said that a film is written 3 times. The first time is by the writer. We all understand that when writer puts pen to paper to write a script. The second time is by the director. On set, a lot of things will change, be adjusted, like it's as if you are butchering the script. One thing you don't want to do is have the script writer on set when you're filming. Script writers tend to be very protective of their babies, so to speak. If you're a writer, please dissociate yourself from your babies. Your baby is the one your wife born for you, not that thing that you put pen to paper to write. Okay, so, but really, writers have an attachment to material they write. They envision a thing and they spell it out the way they think it should be made. However, writers forget this. So writers in the house, I need you to hear this and file it. A writer is in a way a filmmaker. Yeah, I noticed. Thank you. It's 6 minutes. I'm monitoring it here. Thank you. A writer is a filmmaker in their own right, but again, they are not. Let me explain. If you write a novel, what you wrote is the end product. Audiences will buy your novel and consume the novel, what you created. If you write a song and it is sung, audiences feel it directly. But if you write a script for a film, you are not writing a film per se. What you wrote is the raw material for making a film. Hello, somebody. For example, my mom makes what they call Iruko shodi, beverage, tea, okay, made from cocoa. So, Ileolugio, I don't know the place where they make this cocoa. Whatever cocoa those people make is not the end product. Their own end product is the raw material used in a chocolate factory to make beverage, tea. But even that is raw material at home for the mother that will add milk and sugar and hot water to make tea. Can the person that made cocoa claim to be the one that is feeding me tea? No, really, think about it critically. You make cocoa. Cocoa, have you tasted cocoa before? It's the most bitter thing you can put in your mouth. Have you tried Milo or Bonvita before? It can be very, very creamy and sweet. And then the person that made cocoa, can he lay claim that you are drinking his products? No. Same with, it's far-fetched. Same with a script writer who is trying to form and claim that, Oga, calm down. You don't write script, you don't try. You don't collect your money, they go your house. And that's how it is. And let them do what they can do. You've done all you can do. Now give it, hand over. It's like when you run a relay and you pass the baton to the next person, but you want to follow and run like faster. No, guy, you don't pass the baton. Go and sit down. Let me run the remaining race. And that's how it is. Okay? So, how did you get on the scriptwriter thing? I was talking about the writer, the director, and the video editor. That a film is written 3 times. We understand by the writer. The director, a lot of things change on the crux, as in at the moment when you're shooting. Okay? It's as if you're rewriting the script. And the one that is lesser known is the editor. An editor can turn a comedy into an horror film by how it is edited. Ordinary choice of music is enough. For example, do you know that most Nigerian skits are not funny? Do you know? But the moment you hear the, don't you do that or one thing, it just prompts you. It puts your mind ready to laugh at the slightest, what's it called? Remove the sound, watch it. You're like, this is foolishness now. Yeah. That's the power of sound. So even with just the addition or the subtraction of sound, a video editor can give a completely different meaning to a body of work. So the editor is just as important as the director, just as important as the writer. So as a producer, pay attention to these 3 individuals and their contribution to the making of your film. So post-production, that's what we just spoke about, yes? Moving on is managing the budget. We've spoken about this. Marketing and distribution does not need any explanation again. Yes? Moving on. Overview of the production process. We've done this, the 5 stages of film production: development, pre-production, production, post-production, marketing, and distribution. Okay, now key qualities and mindset of a successful producer. Let's talk about this for a second. What are the mindsets and the qualities that a producer should have? Of course, number 1 on the list is you must have business sense. Hello, you must be a good manager of resources. Picture this. Femi does not know how much his film will cost, but he knows he wants to make a film. And he goes to take a loan of 10 million to make his film. And Femi ends up making the film for 3.5 million naira. Do you know he's going to pay interest on 10 million, not on 3.5? Do you know that the interest on 10 million is almost as much as 3.5? He will end up paying between 13 million to 15 million back for that loan he took. Was Femi wise? Come again? Eh? He's wise and he's not wise. By the end of the day, Femi will now use all the profits to pay back the loan. All right. But you get what it is I'm saying. Number 1 is you should have a good grasp of money matters. If there's any lesson you should learn, it's the reason why Igbos excel at filmmaking. They originally have a good grasp of money matters in the first instance, and this is purely business, and they handle it as such. One thing, I talked about something about me and I don't judge, remember that? The other thing is there's nobody in this life that is perfect. Everybody has their good sides and their bad sides, okay? And appreciate people for what they are good at. Try and remove your eye from the bad sides of people, because even you, when they talk, you know holy. You get it? So number 1, a producer should have a good grasp of money matters. Number 2, you should have administrative skills. You'll be administering people. You should have relationship skills. Yeah? You'll be dealing with a lot of people. It is said that a director prevents problems from happening. A producer solves problems. That brings us to number 4. You must have problem-solving skills. In fact, most of making a film is problem-solving. Is it Murphy's Law, or whose law is it that everything that can go wrong will surely go wrong? That is film we're talking about. In film, everything that can go wrong will surely go wrong. Prepare your mind for that. If it now doesn't go wrong, fine. If it does, you're ready to take up the challenge and solve the problems. Okay, so you're shooting a film. Picture this, crazy story. You're shooting a film. Your main cast, day 8, is caught molesting one of the girls on set. And the girls say, we no go agree, we no go agree. They've gone to call police. They've gone to call police. Arrest your main cast, your main actor. Day 8 out of day 10. Oga, what are you going to do? And you went to collect loan for the film. And the man no one give you the money before. He warned you. He warned you. And you insist, say, Oga, no worry. No worry. I go pay your money. And then day 8 of 10, they arrest your main cast. What are you going to do? Yes, you also have been solved within. Placates. Yeah. Let's this thing finish. But sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't work. But I just showed us an example of how crazy, out of your control, some things can go. I don't have a perfect solution for that scenario. And even if you think you do, see, I found out that in this life, people who say, if it is me, they are the ones that when that situation happens, they will mess up pass. You know, when you're not in that scenario, not in that situation, it's easy to mouth it until it happens. Moving on. Me, brother, that but away, why a kid yet?
Afẹnuwa ọkọ̀ kì í jam.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, afẹnuwa ọkọ̀ kì í jam. That's so. You get what? When you got to go like this, you reach the place. Mouth is easy to use mouth. For those of us who don't speak Yoruba, said it's easy to, if you drive with your mouth, you know, go get accidents. You know, get accident, lie. All right, so now let's go to types of producers and their functions. We've introduced us to two of the kinds of producers, the executive producer. Yes, now we know who the executive producer is, the financier of the film. It has little or no creative or administrative control on the film. So while I've said that if we have questions, write it down then, but let me speak to this. So the executive producer might not even have an idea of film, might not even be interested in film. The executive producer is anybody who funds your film. So you go to your uncle, because I know you have some rich uncles, yeah? And you go to your uncle and you say you want to do film, you need 3.5 million, yeah? And you say it's a loan, sir. You know, I just finished school and this is what I studied and this is what I want to do with my life. I've spoken to daddy. Daddy is dragging his feet. I want you to help me shame daddy. Just loan me the money, do the film. I want to prove a point to him that I can do this. Like, I can't get it. Like, no, it's not dash. I will return the money, sir. 6 months, I return, and whatever sweet talking you sweet talk him, he gives you the money. He becomes your executive producer. Does he need to have a say in the making of the film? Do you get it? Some executive producers they don't even want to know. Their own is, I have given you money. Return my money with interest. Full stop. He make am, he no make am, none of my business. Return my money with interest. In fact, I attended a conference recently, Sterling Bank, and one of their reps was there. LifeHack was just some 3 weeks ago. So on the panel, we had somebody from, what's this bank? Government bank, not Smedan, Bank of Industry. Yeah. And then the other guy from Sterling, who was representing the creative, whatever, funding, whatever. And he said Sterling Bank doesn't give loans to creative people anymore, filmmakers, because they most times tend to either lose, like they can't really offset the loan, yeah, or it shall give a lot of reasons. But what they do now is more like they become the executive producer of the film with a stake in the film. Huh? Sterling Bank. Yeah, that's what they do now. So they are getting a certain percentage from the film. So they will loan you the money. It's not loan per se. They would fund the film. Maybe it's 40% of everything the film makes. So even they are invested in your film working. Exactly. So it's not just anybody. It's people who are tested and trusted, have a track record, you know, and all of that. Your films are proven to be successful, and then they bankroll your production and they take a cut from your production, which is even more than what they would have gotten if they do interest. Have you heard of VC before? What's VC again? Venture capitalists. Okay, tech industry, tech 101. So venture capitalists fund your startup, your tech startup. And out of every 100, only 4 make it. The remaining 96 would most likely fail. But you see those 4 that make it, they will make so much money to cover the cry of the 96 that failed. That is how this world works. So if you fund a film, normally if it's 35% loan, and out of 10, you're supposed to collect 13.5 million back, Shibi, with 3.5 million loan. 3.35% on the loan. But if you partner with your 10 million, the film makes 100 million, you collect 40%. How much is that? 40 million. Do you get the drift? Does it pay them or not? So even if two films, if they do for 10 and two bomb, do you think they've lost? No. Number one is, they will do their due diligence before they even choose to fund you. So they are almost sure that 80% of the films they fund will be bangers. And if two flop, they are still in a very, very good place. All right. Then we know the producer, yeah? And then you have the line producer, which is very similar to the production manager. Actually, depending on the size of your film, you might have three people: the line producer, the unit production manager, UPM, and the production manager. However, if you have a small budget, you would only have a PM who would do the job of this whole department. We know who a production manager is, yeah? Now, so on TV, if you're doing a TV series, you most likely need a line producer. If it's a film, a production manager will do. If it's a big film, a line producer and a production manager. And if it's a very, very big film, a line producer with his own production manager, and then unit production managers with their own production managers. Let me explain. So you're shooting a very gigantic film, like, I've not seen Jagu Jagu, funny enough, so I wouldn't be able to use it as an example. Why? You think it's every Nigerian film I watch? No. Let me rewind. I can count the number of Nigerian films I watch. What's in the Gang of London? I know Gang of Lagos. Which one is Gang of? I've not even heard of it. How much more see it? So by your standards, quick one, by your standards, a number of films who by your standard make sense, by my standard are trash. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say. Okay? And I have to be that way, or else the people I'm turning out to be trash. I don't know if you get what I just said. If you don't hold yourself to very high standards, what you will turn out will be subpar. Do we get that? It's either you're wearing white flowing gown, or just people might go and sit down somewhere. But I'll get back to that in a minute. So line producer, unit production manager, and production manager. So if the film is large, that has war scenes, for example, where there are crowds who are fighting war, and in Game of Thrones, for example, Game of Thrones, they have some scenes where there's a big war, but we are focusing on two people in the war. Good. The director focuses on those two actors. He's directing them, and he would have his own production, an assistant director and production manager. The bigger war going on around them would have his own, they call it second unit. And that second unit would have his own director. That would be second unit director. And it would have his own production manager, second unit production manager. Actually, they won't call him second unit production manager. That's why they will now call him second unit production manager. Do we get where UPM comes from now? Because that director would also need his own production manager. It's the second unit. Second unit means the ones who are directing the other like, why is it confusing my mouth? There's A roll and B roll, for example, in film, directors now. There's A roll and there's B roll. A roll is the main action that is going on. B roll are like cutaway shots. Even when we do filming on big scale productions, A roll is shot by one, and B roll can be shot by a lesser, what's it called, which is the different cutaways that we need. People walking, crowd, waka pass, B roll. Same concept is what applies in the production units, the main unit and the second unit. So the second unit, the director, when the rest are fighting, it's not the director that is still controlling the crowd. That's the second unit director. He is the one controlling the crowd. The main director is controlling those other two people fighting inside of the crowd. Who are the others are just to create atmosphere for the main fight. Do we get it now? So in that wise, the line producer will be the oga patapata for all the production managers. The production manager assigned to this unit is the unit production manager. Do we get how this works now? But on a smaller film, it's the same person that is doing all the work, just the production manager.
So am I meant to believe that the line producer is just can be called the producer of the film?
No. The line producer reports to the producer.
So why do we have to have a line producer and a producer?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. So the line producer has no business with the script. The line producer has no business with raising funds. The line producer has no business with distribution. The line producer has no business with post-production. His job is is essentially in production, but starts from pre-production, planning, breaking down, identifying the things we need, and coordinating the shoot. The line producer is the eye and legs of the producer on the day of the shoot on set. He is responsible for the day-to-day running, which is a subset of what the producer does. But of course, on a smaller budget production, the producer can do all of this by himself, which is, or just engage a production manager, which is what most of our films are like. So I understand where we might be coming from. But remember, we also want to scale up. And we should, if you don't know where you want to grow to, you will not be able to fill those shoes. It doesn't mean we need to have them now, but we know that, okay, this exists. If I grow older, I can become like this. Do we get it now? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So that's the notes. All of this is also in the handouts I'm going to put together. The breakdown between line producer, unit production manager, production manager. Like I said, they're all the same, but just on the bigger, we break it down. You undo this portion, I will do this portion, but it's the same job, which is monitoring. Okay, small, what's it called? What exactly does this either PM or line producer do? One, hiring and firing on a day-by-day basis. The producer is ultimately responsible for every hire. But when he employs a production manager or a line producer, that person is responsible for the smaller hires. You're getting a contractor, a vendor. Somebody needs to put cement here. Somebody needs to put one block here. They will need a car. It's not the job, for example, logistics. Logistics props is no longer the job of the producer. The line producer or the production manager takes care of that. Extras, production manager. Okay, let's talk about this also. The production manager and the assistant director are two sides of a coin. They do the same jobs, but from different sides of the divide. The assistant director is the production manager assigned to the director. Let me say that again. The assistant director is the AD, is the production manager assigned to the director. How does this work? This is how it works. What did I say is the job of the production manager? To do the job of the producer on this spot, What the producer should do day to day, physically, the production manager is the one doing it. But because producer has a lot of other jobs, so he dedicates the daily step by step to the production manager. So far, so good, Abi. So the production manager is essentially the producer at this juncture. Do you understand? Is a mini producer at this juncture. Good. So the location manager gets a location. We're using an office. So the location manager is the one that goes to speak to the owner of the office and gets the office. When he does, he hands it over either directly to the producer. Stephanie, okay? He hands it over either directly to the producer or to the production manager. Either ways, it is coming to the production manager. If it's to the producer, producer will hand it over to the production manager. Are we on the same page? What is the job of the production manager from there? gets set dresser to come and dress the set. If, what's it called? Anything that needs to make that set ready, props, the production manager has to work with those people to get the set ready. When the set is ready, production manager hands over to the assistant director. That set is now called a hot set, meaning it is ready for filming. So while we're filming here, production manager goes to the next set to go and get it ready for the director to use. Once it's ready, he hands it over to who? Assistant director, who his job is now to get everybody, actor, extra. So production manager gets the sets, things ready. Assistant director gets the people ready for the shoot. It is not the job of the director to be looking for this actor, job of the assistant director. It's not the job of the director to be like, are we ready to shoot? Job of the assistant director. The two of them, assistant director and production manager, their job is you understand that it's the same now. One is just different aspects of the same job. And it is, I can explain their job in one sentence. To make available everything the director needs for the shoot. Every resource the director needs for the shoot, the assistant director and the production manager work together to make it ready. In fact, most times it's the assistant director that calls the shots. The director only screams action. So tape rolling, quiet on set is the assistant director. Still getting the life of the director easy. Your job, assistant, is to make the life of the director easy, ready to do his job. Are we getting this now? Like I said, filmmaking is a collaborative process. Everybody have their respective jobs and you must play your part, or else you'll be stressing somebody or you might even make the whole thing fall apart. Yakata. Do we get this? Okay. To put it in another way, to paint another picture, the producer, let's come back home. Producer, what are the two most important things I said the producer does? Budgeting and scheduling. Good. Producer has set budgets. This is how much we're spending. For this scene, this is all the things we can get. Producer has set schedule. We'll be on this set for 1.5 hours. We're shooting at an eatery. Eatery has asked us to come on Sunday morning when most people will be in church, 7 to 8:30 a.m. 8:30, we must leave this place. Producer knows this. Director is creative. Director gets to the place. Yes. So, can we have all of these places moved to this side, arranged? I want it to align such that when we put the camera, say, organic plate alone, we have only 30 minutes more to go. No. I need this shot to be 30. So I want you to arrange. True, of course. Is that not how a director will probably think? Good. The producer will attach an assistant director as the controller of the director. Say, no make and start to do like this for you. Your job is to make sure that we are on schedule and we do within budget. So the person responsible for control of time on set is the assistant director. When we do a short list, we also attach estimated time for the shot. So let's say 10 minutes for setup, 15 minutes for the shoot, meaning for this, which we can't spend, and then 5 minutes to pull it down. How much is that? 30 minutes. So the allocated time for this scene, 30 minutes. The job of the assistant director is to make sure that we are on schedule. We are on schedule. Isn't that the job of the producer? Do you now understand when I say the assistant director is in the production department assigned to the director? You get it now. The assistant director is not so much of a creative person. He's an administrative personnel seconded from the production department to the director to make sure that what? One, we stay on schedule. Two, we stay within budget. Do we get it now? To that, you have the assistant to the director. So on most small productions, we don't have all of that. Yes, sir? AD and second AD. Yes. And in that case, the second AD is seconding the AD. Second AD will help her. You get it? Okay. So a film should work like a well-oiled machine where everybody should know what they do. And it's one of the things I appreciate about the current Nollywood. Like I said, when person do good, appreciate them. Where is messing up, point it out. But if your job is only to point out what is bad, or you point out only what is good, there is a problem in both. You should balance this life. Share you get. One of the things I like about current Nollywood is the fact that although forgive me with this word, most of us are quacks, but in the one that we know how to do, we have perfected how to do it. Such that even a white man wants to come and study, how do you finish a film in 10 days? How? How? More than perfection, it is a game of speed. And that's the reason why I said the two of you stand up here for yourself. Here for yourself. I heard of somebody who does, I think it's the same person. Yeah. I think is it true? I heard he has 8 production sets, 8 crews. No, it's not as if they don't want to stress. They pay attention to details. It's the reason why their films are also different from ours. We can't argue that. Yeah, I'm saying, however, that there's a middle road. There's a middle of the road. You can do Nollywood fire approach, add a bit of Hollywood attention to detail, and have a stellar production. That is what I am trying to preach here. It's possible. You just extend it maybe by 5 days more than what your regular Nollywood film would do. Just 5 days more, and you'd have something close to what Hollywood produces. The problem with Nollywood is not money. The problem with Nollywood is not equipment. The problem of Nollywood is not capable hands. The problem of Nollywood is lack of sense. We don't have sense. Good. There's a second half to it, which is the audience. Okay, but let me come back to how we don't have sense. Across board, the industry as a whole. Let me eliminate all of those 3 things that I talked about. Let's start from equipment. Any equipment you can find in the US, camera-wise, light-wise, you can find in Nigeria here. You agree, yes? Good. Number 2, hands, capable hands. Do you believe, or do you agree, rather, that an average Nigerian music video is comparable to any foreign music video? Yes or yes? And it was shot by Nigerians in Nigeria. So the problem is not capable hands. That removes number 2. So our problem is not equipment. Our problem is not capable hands. It remains only money. That is where we don't have sense. Let me explain. It is not in the availability of money. It is in the application of the money. When your priority is not right, this is what you will have. If you spend, Nollywood has proven that if you spend correct money on a film, you can make correct money back. True or false? Do you see that sense we don't have? The problem is not, will you make money if you do your film right? That's not the problem. Because you will make money if you do your film right. Do here. The truth about it is this. Most of this class, I can teach you all there is to producing in an hour or 2. It is not that difficult. Hello? The steps and the things to do to produce a film is not that difficult. But I'm intentionally taking a journey. The idea of the journey is to refresh our mind and to reset our minds to doing things right. It is not about carrying camera or shooting or making money. In Nigeria, we've based everything on how much you make, not how sensible you are. You see foolish person shake cash, cash out, and people are now believing that as long as you cash out, the end justifies the means. We should be more than that. Do you understand? If we always stay commercial, we stay only commercial, at the end of the day, the process will get corrupted. Do you understand? Okay, so let me rewind a little and talk about what I call film education, which you have all alluded to. One of the challenges we have in the industry, one of the key challenges is what I call film education. Most filmmakers don't have film education. What they have, what they know is only limited to that area of their own craft in filmmaking. For example, a marketer or an executive producer or a producer who knows only about money, not about film, not about audience satisfaction, not about reading metrics of how audiences are responding and the growth of audiences are moving from point A to point B, and you're still stuck in the old ways of if you do it like this, you make money and you cash out and you repeat. Yeah, because he does not understand film. He only understands money. And true, if you understand money, it will be enough for you to get by and continue making money. But the film production process gets corrupted. Same with if you're an editor and the only thing you know is how to edit. You will not really pay a lot of emphasis and importance to sound or to shooting it because you only know editing. Same with Mr. Man that only knows how to shoot. For example, how many of us know what is called room tone? Tone or ambience. Ambience sound. You know it. Ambience. Do you record it when you deal with sound? You must know it. If you don't know it, you get. But let me ask this, Oga. I know you've been part of quite a number of productions. Yeah. So do you shoot ambience, ambient noise, ambient sound, room tone, whatever name we'll call it? Okay, so where I'm going to now, you get the picture is painting, very beautiful. What if I told you that the room tone and ambient sound I'm talking about is quite different from that? This is very valid though. This ambient noise, ambient sound is extremely important for setting. I was even speaking to when you get to a location. For example, we're recording something in this space, a conversation between two people. It's a classroom setting. Yeah. Before we start at all, this DOP is supposed to record with the sound guy at least 30 seconds of everybody quiet. And record 30 seconds minimum for the edit. Most DOPs don't know. Most editors don't know. Okay? I said, when you get to any scene, any location, a new location for a scene, a DOP is supposed to record silence in every place. The point I was making is film education, that everybody who works in film should know about every other area of film. It's not enough to know what producing is. You should understand directing and writing. Irrespective of what field you function, you should know about all the other areas of film. As a businessman, you should know about directing, writing. As a writer, okay, so since there are directors here, and I said writing, directing, and video editing are three sides of a coin, how can you as a writer write a scene when you have no idea how it is shot, whether it is possible to shoot or not? Let me rewind. We are producers here. Let me speak our mind. In the script writing class, I tell them reasons why a producer will not buy your script. Hello? I know there are some writers here, so I'm sure you can resonate. And we are aiming to be producers. By now, we know that budget is probably the most important thing when it comes to making a film. Yes? Good. So for example, you've estimated that you need 1.5 million to shoot this film. Hello, are we all here? Okay. And then script writer writes a script and the opening scene is a plane explodes. As the man is coming down from this plane, unknowingly to him, okay, plane is even too far, it's a car, ordinary G-Wagon. As he's coming, as he enters the car and starts the ignition, the car explodes because they have rigged bomb inside of the car. That's the opening scene of the film. Uncle, your budget is 1.5 million. And scriptwriter present that script to you. Will you buy it? As will you buy it? Exactly. Do you get it? Like it's a good script, but not for that budget. Do you understand? While your script might be a good script, it is not for that budget and not for that producer. Is the reason why that producer would reject that script. This is for script writers. Although we are not script writers here, we are the ones that will reject that script. How to know the script to reject. That's the lesson from this. So
now you just made mention of this. Let me just ask the question I've been wanting to ask after the class.
Okay.
I wanted to know, how do you now identify a good script? Just asking because you just made mention of it now.
Okay. All right.
How do you now identify a good script?
A good script is the script that fits your budget. Let's start from there.
Okay.
As a first step,
okay. Whether the story is good or not, that's not going to fit your budget first, Kaji.
Sorry, say that again.
Whether the story is good or not. I said whether the story is good or not, your budget first.
Exactly.
Because you are a businessman.
Your budget first. But let me explain further. Let me say one or two things further in that direction. So it goes thus. Like I said, a good script is first and foremost a script that fits your budget. That's how to know what script to reject. How do you know which one to accept? Of course, the first criteria also is a script that fits your budget. We've not gotten there, but are you with us, sir? Good. But there's a caveat. I don't know if I pronounce the word right. Collect it like that. As a producer, listen to this. As a producer, you should know what kind of film you make. You should have a genre of films you make. You should have a general message in your films that you preach. You should have a certain angle in your film that you tilt towards, such that the right script for you is the film that fits and meets that criteria. So, for example, I'm somebody who advocates for, I'm being controversial and I'm not, this is not me, but I'm somebody who advocates that you say the man beats you. Why? Because we focus so much on domestic violence from the angle of a man, if he's a man, truly should not lay his hands on a woman. And I agree with that 100%. Any man that lays his hands on a woman is okudie kato. I don't think that does not automatically destroy his life, though. Does not mean he should die. Does not mean he should become a non-entity in life. But it's okudie kato. He has not done well enough. I agree. But a question nobody ever asks is, so you too, woman, what did you do that got him to raise his hand? I've condemned raising his hand, though. Let's start from there. I have condemned that he raised his hand in the first instance. A producer or a director might be in the area of I'm speaking for women, I'm just saying. And another one can come from the area of I'm speaking for men, because nobody ever gets to speak for men. For that producer, the right script will be a script that tilts towards the kind of message you want to preach. You should know yourself enough as a producer to know what kind of content you want to make. And if you don't, calm down today. Take some time and internalize and fashion out for yourself what kind of movies do you want to be known for. So both offline and online today, you might not be able to figure it out today, but have it at the back of your mind that you should have a kind of film that you're known for. So I've given us two criteria. Number one, does it meet my budget? Number two, does it speak in the direction of what I want to say? Those are two things that qualifies a script to be either good or wrong for you. Yes, that's commercial. That is not a part of what we are saying. Only everybody. Any moba. I understand. I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to how we should approach it now. Not what obtains, but how we should approach it. They make. Good. Now, Toby Benson, just like Tyler Perry, exactly. Let me read this person's comments. It says, let me see, where is it? What did I do? It's not me, oh, it's not me. What's happening? Okay. It's like Tyler Perry.
Okay, what I wrote there. Okay.
Black women in abusive marriage. Yes. I'm reading from the chat. Tyler Perry is known for African Black women in abusive marriage. That's somebody who has a certain tilt. My own job is not to tell you what to speak about. My job is to let you know that you should have something to speak about. Do we get that? Okay. So, and then the other half, trending is also a factor. I'm just saying what should be the most important factor. Of course, it makes a world of sense if, for example, you speak in the direction of woman fit kill you, and you do that film about the time Mohbad is 1 year, as in his death makes 1 year, especially if somebody like VDM is pointing to the fact that now the wife, now in the instrumental to killing him. Do you know that kind of film will probably go far if it was proven to be true? Now, you're doing a film that it speaks to what you want to say, and it is also aligns with something that is trending. You can have both. You can, but I'm saying don't let trending be the only thing that determines the content you make. We can use that word. It's good for a producer to have a brand. We know you for this. You know the kind of film you meet is that's their own angle. So like she followed up with, like, we don't expect Kemi Atiba to do epic film. What kind of film does she do now? Kemi Atiba did Gangs of Lagos, yeah? Who is that one? That's who? Jade Oshiberu. What did Kemi Atiba do again? Oh, it's King of Boys. I wanted to say yes. King of Boys and Wedding Party and okay. All right, so let's move forward. At least now we have an idea of what kind of scripts you want to gravitate towards. You should create your own niche. Create your own niche, okay? All right, moving on. I'm supposed to share this, yeah? Are we done with types of producers? Okay. Associate producer and co-producer. All right, let me start first from co-producer. Okay, a co-producer is like a partner producer. Co-producer. When they write the credit, they write their names like sometimes in 3s or in 2s. Produced by, and you see 2 or 3 names. Those are like co-producers. Or sometimes they write it in both, like producer and then co-producer. So they are like partner producers, different from associate producer. Now, who is an associate producer? A producer is someone who produces the resources needed for making a film. Shebi? Good. The main producer is the main person who produces the main things used to making the film. Associate producers are those who produce some of the things that are consequential in making the film, not all the everyday things required, job of the producer. But if this thing was not in the film would not really be the film. E.g., I want to make a film with a character that looks like Jennifer. That's the idea I have in mind. Yes? And then I speak to somebody who can get me Jennifer on my film. Me on my own, I know fits. Either because I can't afford her or because I don't have the contact to reach her. And then you come and you say, Jennifer be my auntie. I go tell her, say, now we they do am. She know. And then he gets Jennifer to be in the film as my main character. Do you know that if Jennifer is not in the film I make will not be the film I wanted to make? Why? Because the main character in my film sounds like, talks like, acts like Jennifer. I want Jennifer to be the one to act that character. I'm going to pay, maybe not a standard rate, but I'm going to pay something, but I can't even reach her, or my money no reach. Somebody else leverages his own relationship with her and gets her to be on the film. I can give that person associate producer credits. Or we need equipment. We don't have said equipment, and somebody decides to subsidize the cost of equipment for us, associate producer. Are you getting this now? Things that are instrumental in getting your film done, the moment that person contributes to, whether it is financial, whether it is material, resources, whatever, but it's instrumental in getting your film made, you can give that person an associate producer credit. Short Yiwa. Okay, I think that kind of settles the types of producers, production manager. Now, the other guys you can think of is people like production coordinator, production supervisor, and all the other grammar. That comes up if you're doing a big budget film. Okay, for example, sometimes even producers need to be coordinated. Hello. Okay, so picture this. I run a film school. 4 minutes going, 4 minutes left. I run a film school. I want to do a web series. We don't have funds. We don't have equipment, but we can train actors who can do this. Are you following this? And I'm like, okay, we need locations. We can't get money for locations. What if we do the film, the web series? What if we make the location is at an eatery? So can we go and speak to this eatery that they sponsor the film, not financially now, but with their location? So we will shoot in the eatery. What they are contributing to the film is they are allowing us use the location for the shoots. That's their contribution to our shoot. Yes? Okay, with feeding. Let's not forget that one. They will give us food while we're there. Welfare, good. While we're at it, I go to find, I don't know, is the film supposed to also have some shooting, and then we go to meet somebody, and then that person. Now, for each of these entities that we're relating with, I could have a production manager or a co-producer or an associate producer. You all know they do the same thing, just at different levels. To be the key person, the go-to person, no, the contact person for that eatery. The contact person with the police to give us the guns and the props and the clothes. With prison, let's say there's also prison where it's doing some things and the man goes to prison. Somebody is relating with the prison on our behalf. Like there's a lot of external, what's it called, relationships we need to leverage on to pull this film off. You could have somebody supervising relationships. All of those individuals report to this one individual. Do you get it now? His own job is to coordinate all the relationships we need to make this work. Each of those relationships has a contact person. Do you get it now? You could use that structure to say coordinator, production manager, or co-producers. Does that make some sense? To the producer, yes. You get, so it depends on the scope of your production. This is what determines the specific areas of producers that you need for your production. Again, you, Mr. Producer, you have produced 3 films. You know you can be assistant to the assistant production manager on some other film. True or false? Very, very possible. No, assistant to the PM. Not just PM, assistant to the PM. And you have produced 3 films on your own. That you have become a producer does not mean you are not a subordinate of a subordinate in another person's film. It's scope of project that determines. Plus, The production you did, Shebi is what you used to cut your teeth to be able to get that one job. Do you understand? Mr. Fred, welcome back. I like the way you are following us bumper to bumper. You've been observing it. You're following us bumper to bumper. I love that. Thank you very much. Now, that stuff we just spoke about dovetails nicely into the next topic, the different parts to becoming a film producer. Yeah? Remember I said that you can be a producer on your own film. You could have produced 3 films, but you are still a small fish in another person's film. So that is your own path to getting on big budget films, and you can only grow once you join the big league. Do you get? And that is one path to ultimately becoming a film producer. How? Producing your own films at your own level. Everybody who's in this class right now, who's taking the producing class, wait, let me ask, who is just warming the bench here and who is taking this class? If you're warming the bench, let me see your hand. Like me, I'm just here because I'm just sitting there, I'm just looking. What is going to come follow what I'm saying is big and gargantuan. So if your hand should be raised up, raise it up now. Like me, I'm just here, I'm just warming the bench. I'm just looking at what's going on. I'm not really here to learn producing or produce. Anybody, Dami, do you fall in that category? Ah, Dami, your ears are plugged in. Yes, and for directing. You said what? You've been listening. Hold on. So since all of us agree that we're here to learn and be the best we can in the area of producing and directing, every week in September, after this week, you must produce and direct a film. Submit and send to me, including those of us online. You must do what? Produce and direct a film every week this September, meaning you must produce at least 3 films. No, wait, it's not feature-length film. Oh, it's not feature. Oh, in case your liver don't. No, I mean a short film. Short film. It can be a 60-second. I mean a 1-minute short film. It's fine. But I just want you to produce 1 film every week. There is no better learning experience you can get other than that. Learning for filmmaking is doing. This one we're doing in class is to open our minds. It's not really learning. It's just opening your mind to, oh, okay, so this is possible. You learn it when you get in the trenches and you do it. So those of us online, did you hear me? Ah, there were 9 online. There is now 8. Somebody has Japa. The rest of us that are online, are you committing to this? I need you to type it. Type yes if you're committing to shooting 1 film every week for the rest of September. Don't worry, I will walk us through how to make this happen. Don't worry. Don't let your liver cut. By the end of tomorrow, I'll walk us through how to make this happen. Okay? Kazim says yes. Paul says yes. Okay? I'm waiting for Kuye. Okay. Yes, I'll try. All right. Okay. Uncle Kuye. Yes, God willing. Good. All right. So most of us are committing to shooting 1 film every week for the rest of September. Good. So your own, what's it called, is to make sure I show you how to produce and direct the film. Your own end of the bargain is to produce and direct the film. You wanted to say something? Oh, okay. So let's move on. By God's grace, step by step, where to start, how to go, and how to finish it. That's the goal of the class. So yeah, different paths to becoming a film producer. One is the traditional route, go to a film school or get industry experience on the job learning. The other way is alternative paths where you do your own projects, alternate independent projects or in related industries, meaning you do join, or you shoot your own film, which is what I am advocating. The more you shoot films, the better you get at it, especially if you know what you're doing. let me say something about, there's a Bible verse that says, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Hallelujah, somebody. Anyways, don't mind us. But there is a truth to that statement. Yes, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And I said there's a truth to it. This is how to know the truth. Pastor is driving. Holy, conservative, everything. But now Momushi, coded. Now Momushi. And somebody just drive wrong for him. I hear my budget for it. And then he catches himself like, so these people, they'll just be causing somebody to sin. Our money shall long. Where did that come from? That is what is in his heart. He might be trying to be, but that is what is in his heart. See, there's something that happens. Man has a conscious mind, the one you use to direct what you do, and a subconscious, the one that controls your conscious mind. The subconscious is the true you, is the one that controls you. But you have control over the subconscious. What control do you have? By deciding what to feed it. You can consciously feed your subconscious, and your subconscious is what, without your control, controls you. So you can't control it. When it is controlling you, you can't say you know do. It will control you to the end. You go slap that woman, beat her blue black, before you remember your sense that you're not supposed to do this. Why? You've fed your heart with the wrong things. Same with film. Yeah? If you've spent all your life watching rubbish Nigerian films, even if you take a class like this, the first film you will shoot will still be like a rubbish Nigerian film. Just take it like that. Why? Because that is what has taken root and given birth in your heart. When push comes to shove, it is what is in your heart and your subconscious that will manifest. But like I said, you can choose to change what is in your heart by intentionally feeding it differently. So I'm going to make a film and you draw a short list. I will teach us how to draw up a short list. You decide what you're going to do. While you're doing it, your old self takes over. You do some of the things you said you would do and some of the things your old man is doing. The end result is a mix of some good, some bad. And then you remind yourself, say, but I said I don't do this again now. And the next time you are more determined to do different. You do it a certain number of times, and before you know it, you are now like what you want to do, less like what you used to watch. And it starts by what you watch. You cannot continue watching rubbish Nigerian films and expect that the day you will have to do your own film, you will shoot something sensible. You will shoot what you watch. Do we get what it is I'm saying? You need to control what you watch. When I say that I rarely watch Nigerian films, it will sound as if I'm proud, haughty, trying to say that me sabi pass. No, I'm just controlling what I feed myself with, so that when it comes to time to manifest, you are manifesting what you want to manifest. Do you get it? I can count how many Nigerian films I have seen. If you want to ask me how Nigerian films, yeah, I'm not the right person to ask. I'm not the right person. I don't know much about it. I don't want to know much about it. Why? The people I teach must be above, they will say that the mind that will solve a problem must be greater than the mind that created the problem. You can't be in the same state of mind of how the problem be and assume that you can walk over it, which brings me to this. Not related, very related. How did we get here? Hello? How did we get here? Let me stop sharing. Let's try and record this in full screen. I want to talk about how the Nigerian film industry got to where we are today. so that we will know how to navigate away from there. Do you understand? Good. It starts thus. Like I said, the first film in Nigeria was made in 1929, Palava. Hubert Ogunde started in the 50s and 60s, in the 60s rather, making cinema films shot on celluloid. Nigerians were not the ones who handled the technical part. I mean, handling the camera, shooting, developing the film, editing. Most of that was done by foreign companies, white technicians. But Nigerians were the actors. Nigerians were the creatives, not the technical guys. Are you people with me? Good. And we did that, and the film and cinema industry started blossoming. And then one head of state came, and he came up with what was the legislation again? Is it the naturalization law or something, which indicated that Nigerian companies must be owned by Nigerians. That if a company is in this country, it must be owned fully or partially by a Nigerian. They did it successfully in Dubai and other countries. That's where they implemented the law and it works. But we in Nigeria, selfishness, Ajegudu Jera, no, they help. We implemented it wrongly. And what was the fallout from that? Most foreign companies left Nigeria. Do you know that Sony Music used to be in Nigeria? Sony, the same Sony that Wizkid and Co are now running outside to go and find to sign them. They used to be on this soil. Signing, like Nigerian artists were signed to Sony Nigeria, EMI. A lot of these record labels were here. But with that law, most of them exited. It affected the creative industry more than any other industry. Okay? Then what happened? Because white men, technical people who could handle cameras, shoot, etc. had left, the cinema industry started dying. There was nobody to make cinema quality films anymore. TV stations did not have films to show anymore. And then one day, one of them just came up with an idea. So on one hand, films had ceased, but the theater industry was thriving. Them Duroladipo, Oyinlade Jobi, plenty of them. They were touring states. They were going from state to state doing their stage plays. Come again. And then one TV executive saw this and was like, this is nice. So he invited these guys, Duroladipo and Co, to the TV station. They set camera on top of these people who do stage play. And they were televising live the play they were doing on stage to people at home. Funny enough, people loved it, especially with the absence of film. This was the only thing available now, and people embraced it. And that was how a new industry was born. What was the industry? Showing stage plays on TV, filming stage plays. But that was a problem. How is it a problem? Stage is different from film. Making film is different from doing stage. But we have now found a way to marry the two. We just put camera in front of stage actors and show it to people at home. And we started believing that that stage play they do is what is called film. And generations down the line, same actors, theater practitioners, same mindset, put camera on tripod to shoot people doing stage play, same idea, package it, sell it without formatting it for film. And before you know it, we start thinking more like stage people than film people. I put it to you that what we do in Nigeria is 60% stage, not film. There are so very few film makers in this country. What we have are people who are shooting stage and capturing it on film. Do we get this? That is the crux. That is the root cause of our problem as an industry. You wonder, so how is that a problem? It doesn't look like a problem now. Let me tell us how it is a problem. Like I said, my goal for this exposition is for us to understand the root cause so that we can move away from it. Good. I was telling us about stage and film the other time. Stage, you have to exaggerate. In fact, over-exaggerate everything for stage. Why? The last person at the back must hear you, feel you. You can't be angry like this on stage. You can do that for film. The camera will capture what you're doing, but you can't do that for stage. So what do? You use your whole body to show anger. We do that for stage and it works. When you do it on film, it is ugly. You remember I made that statement earlier. That is the problem. So when you have stage practitioners acting in front of a camera, you have what has created the, what's this word? Not rhetoric. Cliche. It's not even cliche, it's not even the, but that Yoruba people shout a lot. That's one of the places where it comes from. What is the first introduction to a Yoruba man? TV or film. What do they do? Why? They are doing stage on film. Oh, let me give us another example. On stage, almost everybody looks like everybody else. On stage, you are there with them for just 1 hour, and they are fine. So but you don't really see faces clearly on stage. It's why costuming for stage, for those of you who are doing stage, where is the costumier? She no come. Because costume for stage ought to, you ought to use costume to differentiate one character to the other. But most times on stage, they wear uniform stuff. Like, really? Share wow, okay. No one in the classroom. Like, one of the key jobs of costuming for stage is to intentionally costume these people so that they are very different. You can just use, you can just use a costume to tell Akin different from Femi, even if you've not seen Akin's face clearly. But the costume should differentiate him. You get, long and short is on stage, you can't really tell A from B so much. One of the ways to tell is costume. The other way is in dialogue, when they call each other's names. Is why on stage, like, hey, Femi, my friend, where have you been? They repeat the names again and again, and it sticks. Do you know that's what we do in film now? Hear this. Look at this most foolish statement. Let me use Timmy. Timmy, where is Sade, your sister? No, like, really, who speaks like that in real life? Your sister is your sister. Sade is Sade. Do you need to say, where is Sade, your sister? Does it make sense? It doesn't. Do you know where that is coming from? From stage. A white man can't sit down and watch a Nigerian film and feel okay. He's like, something is wrong. Say, badun. True, they badun. True. So it's not one person's fault. It's not just director, it's not just writer. It's it's a complete mindset now for us. Such that, just a minute, such that if you don't see it in a film, even you'll be like, something is wrong with this film. Or you know that it's different. Do you understand? Because producer expects it, director expects it, actor expects to do it, writer is expected to put it inside. It will be somebody, if somebody stands up and says, no, this is not how, they will rather shame that person than agree that what that person is saying is true and is the right way it ought to be done. Okay, so why am I blowing all of this grammar? You guys, you can see I'm very passionate. Okay, you can see I'm quite passionate about this. Why? My take is this. If we do not identify the root cause and see the negative effect, we will not know how to navigate away from it. But as I'm establishing the root cause of the problem, and showing us the negativities it has, because there's a way film ought to be done. Film is a visual medium. On that note, I'll finish this thought pattern, but let me digress a little. The difference between stage and film and novels. Those are the three major ways of telling stories: narratives, film, stage, and novels. Good, let's start with novels. Novels is carried on. The blood of novels is description. The more you can describe, the better your novel will be. The imagery, using words Like, that's doing kung fu with words. That's the beauty of novels. Don't worry, I'll say that next. It's the reason why most new writers, all of these Indomie children that say they are writing scripts, they're supposed to give them knock. Because what they write is novels, and when they write stories, yeah, but in novel format. And then when they say they write scripts, you will tell them, take script writing class. They'll be doing yanga. I write scripts. You are writing novel, Oga, and novel is different from film. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Next is stage. Stage is carried on in dialogue. For example, if the president dies in a plane crash in this play, this stage play we're doing, if the president were to die in a plane crash, how do you want to show a plane crash on stage? Almost impossible. So what do? One person will narrate the story to the second person in dialogue. Have you heard? It was terrible. The plane went like this. Oh, went like this. Everybody, and then it now jam. Everybody else. And then he exaggerates the telling of the story, uses the narrative and the dialogue and the sweet words to carry people along. Stage. Do you notice that they all have their own peculiarities? Now let's come to film. Let's come to where? Film. Femi is angry. And then you write for me, Femi is angry. Are you normal? And then you show me on the screen. Like, show one binuni. The moment you have to say there's a problem in it, what do? You put Femi in scenarios. You get him to take actions that lets us know that he is angry. Film is show, not tell. So what is the, what's it called? Watchword. Every time you feel like describing what this person is going through, cancel it. First of all, you can write it as a description and then come back to polish your script. Take that description and visualize it. How can I show this rather than tell it? Meaning, what scenario can I put this person in that shows the audience what this person is going through? You get, instead of telling us his mood, show us the result of the mood. Get him to do something that lets us know the mood is in. Koreans are so beautiful at doing this. One of the things they do best is love stories, especially when boy meets girl for the first time. Oh my God. Even you, without words, and when they do it, is without words. They don't say nothing, but you can feel the love in the atmosphere. Why? They've turned it to a science using visuals and pictures to tell stories, not necessarily saying it. If your character has to say the words, you have failed as a director and as a writer. So one of the films you're going to make must be a silent film, no dialogue, no word, yet you must pass across the message to us. That's how to train yourself to think visually as a director. You know, we've spoken less about directing, more about producing today. The directing team, they know where it's inside cooler. We'll talk about directing properly tomorrow. But are you getting what I'm saying? So film is different from stage, different from novels. And it is in understanding the differences is how you would know why foreigners, whites, can't really relate with our content. Do you know Nigerian film is watched across the world, in every country of the world? It's so popular. But do you know that it is not white people watching Nigerian films? Sir, I know you don't know. It's not white people watching Nigerian films. So in the US, millions of people watch Nigerian films, but they are either Nigerians or other Africans watching it. Fred, I don't know if I've answered your question while I was ranting. How do we start making film instead of stage art? By being more expressive visually. Remove or reduce dialogue to a minimum. Don't tell us what your character is feeling. Show us, put him in scenarios that gets him to act up They don't see. Most directors in Nigeria are quacks. Most Nigerian directors, take it anywhere. Most Nigerian directors are what? Quacks. They don't know their right from their left. Leave cinematographers alone. We don't even have cinematographers. Okay, so here's the drift. The cinematography class, we talk about the difference between a DOP and a cinematographer. I get them to understand that they are one and the same. I talk about the difference between a videographer and a cinematographer. Okay, there are slight differences there. And then a camera operator, different from a cinematographer. The job of the DOP, the director of photography, or the cinematographer, is not to handle the camera. He can do it, but that is not his primary job. That sounds strange, because in Nigeria, the person that handles the camera is our DOP. May I announce to you, Saz and Ma, that that person you are calling DOP is just an ordinary camera operator. He does not understand the job of a DOP. It's the reason why they cannot deliver what a DOP should deliver. Now, camera operator, videographer, when they shoot party events, when we started Nollywood, it was event party shooters that we promoted. Those are the people we will hire to shoot film. We didn't have people shooting film before now. What did we have? People who shoot events, who shoot party. They are the ones that we went to bring, and it's the same camera. That's what makes it even worse. When film industry started, we were using Panasonic what's this one now? M3500, whatever, and then digital came. Panasonic too, MD 5000, MD 9000. It was the same cameras that we were using to shoot events. So when the time came to